From sharing the bloodline and talent of fearful Tyson Fury to finally coming out of his shadow after a win over Jake Paul, a lot has changed suddenly that we're now looking at the next potential opponents. So tell me, who's a better opponent than KSI? Tommy Fury and KSI have been involved in a public feud for some time now, and all we can see is both fighters' trash talk and challenges on social media. From a promotional perspective, a fight between Tommy Fury and KSI could generate a lot of interest and revenue, and a major reason for that is also because both fighters have large followings on social media and YouTube. This could make it a lucrative opportunity for both of them and the promoters involved. But of course, KSI would be at a disadvantage here because very realistically, he's an amateur boxer with limited experience. Fury, on the other hand, is considered a pro at his sport, and given that he's already 10-0 on his fighting record,
sweet as a nut, sweet like Tropicana.
KSI might be in trouble if he decides to go head-to-head with him. But do you see him looking bothered by that? Not really. In fact, he tweeted after the Jake Paul versus Fury match that he could actually take on both of them. I mean, it's one thing to be overconfident and another to completely ignore reality, but I guess it'll still be fun to watch them both fight. But before I offend any of KSI's fans, let's move on, specifically to pro boxers. Look, I did it again. Okay, no more. Let's talk about Deontay Wilder instead. He's been popping off recently, could be an interesting one for several reasons. The guy was actually there at the Paul versus Fury match, and guess what? He's actually in support of the former.
The atmosphere, the Middle East, they're really adopting boxing, and they really want to hear the way they're structuring and how they're having boxing.
If that isn't enough reason for Fury to go against him, how about Wilder thinking that Jake was robbed of his win against Fury? But forget the cheap shots for a second, and let's see why a matchup would actually be something to be excited for. First, Wilder is a former WBC heavyweight champion.
The new WBC heavyweight champion of the world, the Bronze Bomber,
with an impressive record of knockouts, which could make for an exciting fight. Second, for an up-and-coming boxer like Fury, a fight against a high-profile opponent like Wilder could help boost his profile and credibility in the sport. From a strategic standpoint, the matchup between Fury and Wilder would be intriguing because of their contrasting styles. Fury is known for his quickness, footwork, and ability to outmaneuver opponents in the ring, but Wilder is different. He's a powerful puncher with a long reach and a reputation for knocking out his opponent. If they were to fight, Fury would likely need to rely on his agility and technique to avoid Wilder's heavy shots and tire him out over the course of the fight, especially given the massive height difference between the two. But let's take a few steps back. How about someone with less experience than Wilder? To me, Joy Joyce looks like a good match.
Joe, the Juggernaut Joyce!
And that's for a couple of reasons. For one, he's a highly skilled heavyweight boxer with an impressive amateur background, having won a silver medal at the 2016 Olympics. On top of that, he's even transitioned to the professional ranks and has a perfect record of 15 wins and 0 losses, with 14 of those wins coming by way of knockout. So while he's close to Fury in terms of experience, he's still a potentially very strong opponent given his knockout ability. Plus, facing different people with different fighting styles is always going to help Fury in the long run, especially if he aims to become great like his elder brother. And honestly, it's just one match that can push you to greatness in the long run. Maybe this is the one. But again, there's a huge height difference here as well, with Fury at 1.83 meters while Joyce measuring 1.98 meters. So let's talk about beating up someone your own size. Heard the name of Michael Hunter? Well, a great fighter who's been ranked in the top 10 by several governing bodies. Plus, the biggest advantage here for Tommy could be the fact that Hunter is 1.88 meters in height. That means that Tommy's reach could put him in a great position, and the challenges that come with fighting a relatively taller opponent would be negated. Apart from that, Hunter's a professional heavyweight boxer who's got a record of 20 wins and 1 draw, with 14 of those wins coming by way of knockout.
In round 2, showcasing his power here in Lancaster. PBC on FS1. There you
Not just that, both fighters are currently in similar weight classes, with Hunter fighting in the heavyweight division and Fury in the cruiserweight. Interestingly enough, the cruiserweight division is also called the light heavyweight division, so if need be, either one of the two could cut or bulk to match the opponent and their weight class. In the end, it's really about choosing your opponent wisely and not sabotaging your career with someone too strong or too weak. Hunter, as a matchup to Fury, could definitely help in that department. But hey, what's the fun in fighting a pro boxer, right? Why not fight Logan Paul instead? I mean, for one, he's Jake Paul's brother, so that's pretty controversial in itself, but also because he's pretty good at boxing. Not that he's ever won a single match, but he's still a great entertainer, and why wouldn't you want the free win? Although Logan has now pivoted towards WrestleMania, I bet he'd be willing to return to boxing given that he gets a good offer. Plus, he made really tall claims when his younger brother was to fight Tommy, saying things like he'd bet on his entire equity in his prime drink that Jake could beat Tommy Fury. Well, neither of those things happened, so why not step into the ring and do it yourself maybe? And no, not even that's as fun to watch as it'll be to see Fury fight Jake Paul in a rematch. Following his first ever loss in a boxing match against Tommy Fury, Jake Paul is determined to make a quick comeback. The highly anticipated fight took place on 26th of February in Saudi Arabia, and Fury secured the victory by split decision.
To the winner by split decision, Tommy Fury.
The event finally came to a close after a long-standing feud between the two fighters. Despite talk from both camps about a potential rematch in the future, there are other paths that Paul could explore before returning to Fury in the future.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't worry. I'll be back. I'm gonna come back, work harder, get the rematch, and get the W.
But given that he does return, he can definitely do so. How? Because the 26-year-old has the option to exercise a clause in his contract that allows for a second fight with Fury. Regarding a rematch, Paul expressed his interest, stating that he believes the fans, as well as both the fighters, deserve it. Speak for yourself, Jake. I think Fury's satisfied with the result, although I must give it to Jake for making a close match. Having said that, Fury is still willing to face Paul again and stated that if Paul wants a rematch, he's up for it.
Yeah, no, listen, all respect to Jake, he's a tough kid. At the end of the day, you know, when we have that rematch, I'm sure it'll come. You know, you see a lot better fight.
Nevertheless, the decision ultimately depends on both fighters' future plans and available opportunities. Speaking of which, why not set up a Fury bonus? I mean, why not throw Tyson Fury on the list as well? There's no harm in that, is there? Except for the fact that the two are actual brothers. But no, realistically, they aren't a match as of right now, given how Tyson is a two-time world heavyweight champion. That alone is truly terrifying for someone as young as Tommy. But of course, the bigger reason for something like this to not go on is the emotion involved. It would still be very interesting to see, but don't get your hopes up for it. And there you have it, a bunch of opponents that could prove to be a good challenge for the up-and-coming boxer Tommy Fury.
A fight of this magnitude, I've got all the experience beneath my belt now, so that's only pushing me on for further greatness. Thank you.